Hi and welcome back to the cottage. Today I want to share 15 quick and easy decluttering ideas that you can accomplish in 15 minutes or less. If you found yourself looking around your home, noticing all of the items you need to go through and declutter and clean and organize, and you feel completely overwhelmed and stressed that there's no way possible you're ever going to find the time to get it all done, then you are in luck, because I have a list of simple, easy decluttering tasks that you can tackle with just a small amount of time, just 15 minutes or less. And I have found in my own decluttering journey that sometimes these small wins are really what gives us the best amount of motivation and momentum to keep going forward. If we find success with these little projects, we're more likely to continue on to something more difficult and daunting. The first easy to tackle decluttering project that I want to talk about today is the silverware drawer. Now, this drawer tends to be easily forgotten about, even though we're using it on a day-to-day basis. We're grabbing something from this drawer likely every single day. A great way to get started with a silverware drawer, what I like about it, what makes it easy, is you can take everything out of it, clean the bottom of the drawer, any little crumbs that you find, put your cutlery divider back in, and then as you are putting your silverware back in, be thinking about how much of each type of item you need. You might find that you had some plastic cutlery in there that you're not really using. You may find that you have extra baggies. I know a lot of times silverware drawers will also hold things like plastic baggies for sandwiches and things like that. If you are finding that you have too much of anything in any category, just don't even put it back into the drawer. Only put the things back in that you know you use. And that will be a quick win on your decluttering journey. What about manuals and instruction booklets? The great thing about the internet age is we can find most of the information that we need on the internet. How to fix something, where to look up something. Usually we don't need to keep the physical paper copy of it. And if you have a stack, an area where you keep all of your manuals, your instruction books, if you start decluttering and going through it, it's likely that you're going to find instructions for things, items that you don't even have anymore. You haven't kept that toaster, you haven't kept that microwave, but you still have the manual with you. So going through that can be a really quick process. And again, with the paper clutter, it tends to take up quite a bit of space. You're gonna free up space, and you can find the information that you need, if you need it, online usually. The next thing I want to talk about is linens, specifically bath linens. So your towels, your washcloths, any hand towels, and likely there's some spot in your house where you keep these types of items, whether a linen closet or a cabinet within the bathroom itself. Go to that spot and take a look at your inventory level. If you have found that you're just shoving these items into the spot where you have them stored, that is maybe an indicator that you have too many. Also, just by taking a quick glance at your towels, many times you can recognize which ones have stains, which ones have rips, and also know which ones have smells, like an odor, maybe a musty odor from them being around for a while, and you can get rid of those as well. So another quick win on your decluttering journey. Next up, magazines and newspapers. These items they tend to pile up. They tend to really take up a lot of space. And generally speaking, we don't usually go back and look at them once we've gone through it once before. So if there is a magazine or a newspaper that you know has information in it that you want to revisit, go ahead and clip those things out, rip out that page. I've done a whole video about going through magazine clutter where I go through my gigantic stack of magazines. I'll have that one linked down below so you can check that out if you are struggling with magazine clutter. But really, most of the time we can just take the entire magazine and just put it in the recycle bin and move on with our lives. When it comes to the makeup and toiletries department, we can really make some quick work because we know what we are loving and using on a regular basis. And so just by holding up those products one at a time and looking at them, we can make quick decisions if it's going to be tossed or kept. And if we haven't used something in the last 6 months, it's unlikely we're going to be using it anytime in the future. And so that's really a no-brainer. We can just go ahead and get rid of it. Look for things that are expired. Look for things that maybe a bottle has just a tiny bit of product left in it and you've started opening a new product of the same thing that you can consolidate the two. Really, again, this is going to be a very quick process that is very personal and you can make those decisions very quickly, and it's likely you're going to free up a lot of space during this process as well. Take a peek in your coat closet and I'm pretty sure that you're going to find some things in there that you can declutter. Now, if you have a coat closet where you keep your coats, but also you keep your shoes, you keep your winter gear, and you keep miscellaneous things like cleaning products or maybe even some pantry items, I'm not talking about decluttering the entire closet. I'm talking about looking at a category. In this instance, we're going to talk about coats. So what I would suggest for a coat declutter is to actually take everything off of the hangers or hooks that you have in your closet, and then one by one start putting your favorites back on. Pick which items that you use on a regular basis. Maybe you have a favorite coat that you use for the winter time and also a favorite coat that you use for the cooler months. Keep those two coats, put them on the hangers, and do that until you have no hangers left. Another very quick win in the declutter process can come from decluttering the front of your fridge or the side of your fridge. Now, I know that some of you are very attached to putting things on your fridge for reminders, or maybe you have pictures or Christmas cards. The fridge is like a billboard spot. It's such a huge flat surface. It takes up such a large area that I don't want to promote clutter for myself. I feel like it's just a little bit overwhelming if I were to look at a fridge and have it just plastered with magnets and papers and to-do notes and reminders and permission slips. It would just make me really uncomfortable. So I would suggest, if you have that same feeling, to go through the face of your fridge, the side of your fridge, and just really get rid of anything that you're not using. Maybe you do have a checklist that you need to keep up there or you like to keep up there. That's perfectly fine. But if you have pictures from years ago, maybe your nephews, your nieces, that they're pictures from 3 years ago from school, maybe you don't need to keep those up there anymore. Just make some decisions about what you really need to keep up there and get rid of the rest. This next decluttering area is not one that most people think about, but it needs attention as well, and that is windowsills. Now, I'm as guilty as the next person of putting things on these nice little flat horizontal surfaces. I like to put small potted plants there. I like to put decorations there, and sometimes this can just get a little bit out of control. So it feels great to just take everything down, do a quick wipe down, and really reevaluate what you want to keep on the windowsill. I don't say there's anything wrong with keeping things on the windowsill, but just being intentional and deciding what you really want to have there and what is really just clutter. DVDs and music CD collections. Now, hear me out on this one. I did a video previously where I talked about how this probably isn't necessary to keep any of these items in your house anymore because there are streaming services that you can utilize and let them keep your digital media. But I understand that there are some people that really like to have that physical copy of their favorite movie, their favorite band, CD, whatever the case may be. But it is important to at times go through your collections of this type of media and really decide what you are into right now. So maybe you have some music CDs or movies that you loved back years ago, but you never find yourself reaching for it anymore to watch it or listen to it anymore. Those are quick decluttering decisions that can be made just right off the bat. And really, again, with the DVDs and the music CDs, technology is always changing so quickly. So you might find that within your stash, you have items that you can no longer play. I know at one point we had some CDs and then we realized we didn't have even a CD player to play them. So really be mindful of that. Think about what you are listening to, what you want to keep around, maybe for sentimental reasons. Maybe you have a favorite movie that you can't get anywhere else and you just really want to hold on to that. That's perfectly fine, but there's got to be some balance in there. If there's anything in that pile of media that you are not using, you are not enjoying, you can go ahead and get rid of it. Next up is the purse, the handbag, or the backpack. These little spaces, they just seem so seemingly innocent, but they are travelers, and that means that they are picking up things along their travels. Especially if you have kids, The random things that I have found in my purse after a couple weeks of not going through it and then decluttering it, it's mind-blowing sometimes what you can find. So receipts that are in there, any little food scraps, maybe a kid dropped some food on the floor and you didn't have a garbage can to get to, so you wrapped it in a napkin, threw it in your purse. Yes, that has happened to me before. If you have pens that you are just accumulating, they're just taking up space in there, there's just always a lot of little random things within a purse or a handbag or a backpack that you carry with you on a regular basis. Go through it, declutter it. You can get this done so quickly. I mean, if you need to just dump everything out of it and then put things that you're using back in, that's perfectly fine. But again, it's a quick win. It'll feel great, and you'll be happy that you did it. And there's no greater traveling clutter magnet spot than your vehicle. So your trunk or your glove compartment, these areas can just get filled up with all sorts of random things, and they need a good declutter every once in a while. The good news is that these are not really large spots. You can get them done very quickly. Set your timer for 15 minutes. Start getting rid of all those random things that have accumulated. Maybe you brought stuff to the park or to the beach or to a game, something like that. Maybe you have extra bulky blankets in there for the winter, but now it's summer. Sometimes decluttering doesn't mean just getting rid of it, throwing it out, or donating it. Sometimes it just means putting items back in their rightful homes. And so if it doesn't belong in your vehicle, you can go ahead and put it back. There are going to be some safety things such as jumper cables or your insurance card, your registration card that you do need to keep in your vehicle. But most of the time, the things that clutter up our vehicles are just items that need to get put back in their rightful homes. A game cabinet or closet is another area where we can make some really quick decluttering decisions because we know which games that we gravitate towards and play the most often, and we know which ones are kind of just there taking up space. If you have any games that are missing pieces, if you have puzzles that are really difficult and you did them one time and you just never really want to do it again, that doesn't need to take up space in your home. You can go ahead and declutter it. My theory on games and puzzles is that you don't need to keep a whole bunch of them at home to have this fun. If you are feeling the need to try a new game or you want to try a new puzzle, you can check out your local thrift store. They have so much inventory when it comes to games and puzzles, and you can just right off the shelf grab one for a couple of dollars. That's so much cheaper than taking your family out to a movie. Just get a new or a couple games and puzzles off of the shelf, bring them home, play them, try them out. If you don't like them, no harm, no foul, you can bring them right back, but you don't need to always store everything right there at home. So go through your games, go through your puzzles, find some things to declutter quickly, and get that quick win. I want to challenge you to declutter one drawer of your office desk in 15 minutes or less. This might be a very simple task for you, but it also might require a little bit more thought because when it comes to our offices, we have papers that might need to be filed away. We might have receipts that need to be documented for business purposes. Whatever the case may be, it may take you a little bit more time than just simply taking everything out and dumping it out in the garbage can. We need to be more thoughtful because this is our office. And so I challenge you again, one desk drawer, 15 minutes. And if you do this routinely over the course of the week, you might get your entire office desk decluttered. Another quick decluttering project would be to go through all of your cleaning supplies. I know that I have at times tried out different cleaning supplies that I thought would be really useful in my home, and then I found that I didn't like the smell of it. I didn't feel like it did a really good job. So going through those cleaning supplies shouldn't take a very long time because again, just like the makeup and the toiletries, usually you know which items that you are using, which ones that you feel comfortable using, and you don't need to hold on to the rest of them. So again, 15 minutes or less, you can get this one done and knocked out of the park. And finally, the last quick and easy decluttering project that I want to share with you today is the bedside table or nightstand. Now, these are the last spots that we are going to see before we close our eyes at the end of a busy day, and seeing them piled high with clutter is just not a good way to get a good night's sleep. So take those piles of papers, those toys, those extra books, those miscellaneous objects that have piled high on those side tables, get rid of them, declutter them, put them back in their homes within the house house and really freshen up the space. If you put something there instead, like fresh flowers or a nice poem book, it's going to be a delight to fall asleep to and to wake up to instead of giving you extra stress. Alright, well, I hope that this video gave you some great ideas for ways that you can utilize just 15 minutes or less of time to get some really wonderful decluttering done. That if you start to do some of these on a daily basis, if you tackle the entire list of 15, you are going to have quite a bit decluttered in your home. And like I said, those small wins really help to fuel the momentum and the motivation to keep on going along in the journey. Is there anything that I left off the list that you have done in your own home that was really quick, really easy, and it gave you some really great motivation? I'd love to hear about that down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop by the cottage again really soon.